Oh, man, so far behind. But we're finally here, ready to get started.
All right, hold
Super
up.
late. Oh,
Okay. Are we ready?
oh,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. We're live
Now.
now.
Now, what?
We're live now.
Oh, shit. Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Hi. How's
Is that
everybody doing?
Schiller Jerry's?
That's the
I
Garros.
I haven't seen that bottle in a
Wait a
long
minute.
time.
Is this a sweet treat? I think it's
It
probably a
smells
sweet
like a
treat.
sweet street.
Well, it looks
It
like a
looks
sweet
like a
treat.
sweet street.
It smells like a sweet treat. I'm just going to try it to see if it is a
Oh,
sweet treat.
yes, it's just like I thought. It's a sweet treat. Oh
Welcome out to the
man,
Black Tower
what a day!
Podcast, everybody.
Welcome to the Black Tower, where you can train in all things
What?
sardine up front, and you can find the wood chippers for the pedos out back.
What? Sir!
That's where the gardens are. You need fertilizer.
Mm,
What else? I
it
mean,
is
what
a sweet
else?
treat.
What else are you gonna do with
I
them?
knew it.
Spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to keep them locked up, so they can fantasize about the guards like children? No. Why? Why waste the fucking time? You don't need a
Anyway,
fucking. Oh god, no, I'm not gonna say it. It's gonna sound like I'm advocating for people hunting. I'm not. But also,
it's another
don't be
episode of
a
the Black Tower
pedo.
Podcast where we are dispensing the Dark One's taint. It is hot, sticky, and fully icky. And you
I'm
are
pretty sure on
just.
that one, even the creator would look at the dark one and be like, "Yeah, no, he's right." Like I'm kind of with them on this one. Like,
Y'all, you might have a
yeah,
point.
we've made Herentfell has made this wood chipper. We use it for for trees in the when we're clearing for the fields in the summer in the growing season, and for not trees in the
in
winter.
the off season, in the winter. We use it for the blood snows in the winter.
We turn the snow red with a
Ugh.
fine mist. And if you're
Well,
offended by that, then
I'd like
you're probably the
to.
kind of person I don't want here anyway. So at least from
I'd like
Andrew,
to. I'd like
fuck
to throw
off.
this out. Happy birthday, my dear Andrew, sir.
Oh,
I
thank you.
hope. I hope that today has been amazing and you're having a great birthday.
Wow,
And
I was in fucking misery cutting grass,
I am in
bruh.
misery,
So
cutting
I
my
was
grass so slowly. Sorry.
weekend before last, the 4th of July weekend. I went to see my folks, so I wasn't here all weekend because I normally cut grass on the weekend. So that was like a week and a half worth of growth. Which I wish I could grow like the fucking grass does around here because I would be so happy with myself. I'm just saying those weeds got up to my knee, and if I could get down to my knee, bruh. But so there was that, and then this last weekend I was sleeping in a hotel room at the venue for WatCon because I was never fucking downstairs except for a couple times because my brain was like, yeah, let's just say no to people this weekend for
Same.
various reasons that I'm not going to get into. I guess also in the same vein for anybody that hasn't heard or cares or whatever, we'll see when the website gets updated. I stepped down from director of people for WatCon. So if you were going to contact me for that kind of stuff, I'm sorry I can no longer help you. WatCon.com has a form that you can fill out, and maybe somebody looks at the email. I don't know. So I'm sure somebody will.
Test it out. Send them. Everybody, all
Yeah.
four of our viewers right now, go send them an email. Tell them the Black Tower. Tell
No.
them Black Tower sends their regards.
The Black Tower sends its wood chipper. No, that sends the wrong message. I don't want to insinuate anything like that about WatCon.
No,
That's
no.
not an issue there.
No,
So,
that's just how life is, right? You do a thing for a while, and sometimes you go, "Hey, this is really great," and sometimes you go, "Hey, I need to do other things." That's just
yeah.
how life is.
So, yeah. So I was gone that whole weekend, which the car drove fantastic.
Yay!
So that's like 1,200 miles put on the new car, and I just happened to stop at the same gas stop on the way up as I did back in
Nice,
Bastion, West Virginia.
nice.
Also, West Virginia, your fucking easy toll doesn't link up with the Illinois iPass, so you think I have a negative balance on. Okay, now he's back. Okay, I was like, oh shit, Josh just
I was testing out the
ninja
mask of
vanished.
mirrors.
Oh, yeah. Well, it works. At
Yes.
least the invisibility part. You still look the same, but you're just, you're either you or you're just not there.
I was trying to look like John
Um,
Leguizamo.
Yeah, dude, it was like $13.50 in tolls across 3 toll. Like it was $4.50 at each toll booth, and I went through 3 tolls.
Oh, dang.
And I'm just like, why am I giving West Virginia like 13.50 bucks?
Dude, I know that toll roads are a thing. I hate them. I hate them. I think if you're going to have a toll road, it should be like, because you know how they do like a bypass highway, right? You've got like a
Uh-huh.
highway and then they do a little bypass. It's like a shortcut. Okay, you know what? Put a toll on that road. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, if
Not
you're on a
only only road through the fucking mountains.
right, like we're going to
Well, I
charge
mean,
you to
it's not
drive
the
through
only
our
road,
state.
but
Guess what? I'm not driving through your state.
what is
Florida's the
this? You
same
want
way,
you
which
want to
is where we
save like
originate.
an hour of travel by not going all the way around the tolls? Well, that's gonna cost you fucking. Here's the thing. That's $27 round trip, which I guess for people that live in areas that do tolls probably doesn't sound like. I don't know. I don't know how this shit works because I live in a state that doesn't need tolls to maintain its road because it's fucking better at finance, I guess. That's the other thing. If you're gonna charge me a fucking toll, at least the road leading up to the toll should be immaculate. Not a single fucking pothole, not a single faded line. When the dudes aren't sitting in the toll booth, give them a fucking paint can and some asphalt and a fucking stamper. Like, fucking do something. How you gonna have tolls and the roads leading up to the toll have fucking uneven lanes that aren't actively under construction and fucking potholes and shit? Fuck you, West Virginia. Just because they made one good song about you doesn't mean you can be an asshole.
Right? One good song.
Fucking almost heaven unless you're going through the toll booths, fuckers. Ugh.
It's almost the other
I'm
thing.
sorry. West Virginia, you're actually a lovely state. You got beautiful mountains. It's beautiful to drive through. And yes, it was a convenience to not drive an hour out of my way to avoid the tolls. But still, rectify the easy pass thing. That I don't understand. Like, y'all are like, oh, sorry, the balance says negative. And I'm like, I keep a revolving renewal $20 on the iPass just in case.
JIC.
I don't know. I don't understand tolls. I
I'd like
don't live
to
in a state that does them.
I'd like to address the elephant in the room. That is that Reese, our Athon Mahale, is not here. She is
That was a
currently
really mean way to
fighting
talk about Reese.
in Florida against the evils of tolls.
Yeah.
No, she had some urgent business on behalf of the Black Tower to take care of,
Yeah.
and
As you can imagine, is the first ever
it's
female
still
Mahale. She's quite busy,
it's
quite
true.
the ambassador. So when they're like, "Hey, we need somebody that will respect to come to this event," Josh and I can't go. I mean, just look at me, and then you've heard Josh, and oh my god, the things you haven't heard Josh say because you had to cut him out. Oh my,
The shit we've edited out. Woo!
whoa, you put him through an official ceremony. Oh, that's how international incidents get started. That's how Andor declares war on itself. That's how bad it gets. But Reese,
I
with
still
the
think
flowing leaf curtains, everybody's super happy.
the Black Tower can be used as a loophole in the Dragon's Peace. I will die on this hill.
Why do you think I'm here?
That's right. But that's not what
It's
we're talking
never
about.
a dragon's peace crime the first time.
International Dragon's Peace crimes.
There's no Geneva Convention in Randland. It's just the Aiel. Like most of the time, they're gonna be like, "So, but you touched him, but you didn't kill him. You just humiliated him." Yeah. Oh, then you're fine.
Oh, you're fine. That's cool.
He's just like because you're a wetlander. He's just a shitty guy. Sheen. Like you're fine. Like he's gonna talk to you whenever he shouldn't even talk at all, but he'll still bring you water that's probably not
You're
poison.
fine. He's fine. We're all fine. Everything is fine. It's fine.
Whose guy Shane is it anyway?
Whose guy shine is it anyway?
Anyway,
The
before we get
made
into
up
today's
of-
topic, because it's a doozy of a topic that we're
doozy.
starting chronologically, I guess, by the clock, an hour and a half later than usual. But it's my birthday, and I'll start late if I want to, just like a period.
If I want to start.
But
late
here's
if
your
I want
spoiler
to.
warning from the registered nerd. I haven't heard this one in a while.
This is your Black Tower podcast, Wheel of Time spoiler warning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. If you continue to listen, you may be cursed with the knowledge yet to come. These curses may include knowledge that you are, in fact, just a farm boy. Drinking one glass of wine now leads to mustache pulling and a hell of a hangover. Resigning that you will never be as good with the ladies as your friends are. Realizing androl is bae, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. The inability to stop tugging your braid in anger, even if you don't have hair. And understanding that the word taint is simultaneously a noun, adjective, and verb. Discovering you have more titles than actual name. The BDE, also known as Big Dragon Energy, becomes undeniable. Finding yourself promising to read A New Spring and never getting to it. An uncontrollable urge to argue over inconsistent pronunciations. Knowing that hating Gone is a responsibility, not a privilege. Again, there are no beginnings or endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. You have been warned.
Bro, I just finished up The Gathering Storm on our reread, and Gawain is one annoying motherfucker. Oh my god, he pisses me off every single time. It's like Gawain was waiting for Egwene when she emerged from her. I want to just because then he's like, Egwene, we must talk right now, and then Egwene, literal Amarillan seat, literal ruler of the world, literal powerful channeler, is like, yeah, bro, we'll talk later. He's like, no, we will talk now. Oh, okay, cool. We got a dude just like standing in a woman's way, being like, "You're gonna talk to me now." And then I don't know, dude. He is just so annoying. And she's like, "Hey, dude, go away. We'll talk later." And he's like, "Nah." Like, it irritates me. This is how much Gawain irritates. It irritates me so much that my opinion of Egwene drops because of it. Okay, you know the really terrible jokes on the internet, on the offensive internet, where it's like, with a taste in men like that, she's looking to be a single mom of three. Like that. That's Egwene. That's Egwene, and her attraction to Gawain. Because Gawain is the fuckboy energy is real with Gawain.
That reminds me
That
of
dude needs.
what is that dude? He does like the little song and dance where he's like holding diapers and like swinging them around, and he's like, "You let him hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you're a single mom." Where obviously it is not entirely any one person's fault, but
And Gawain straight up did do that.
I
With
mean,
the literal fate of the world at stake, and he goes off and gets himself killed because he's a fuckboy and doesn't think about anybody but himself.
but he put on all the blood knives like
Yeah,
the
because he's
Super
a
Goblin.
fuck. Super Gawain is a super fuckboy.
Well, interestingly enough, our topic will kind of get to discuss whether or not Gawain maybe gets a redemption arc or not, in the more theoretical sense. Because
It's a theory
today
episode.
it is a theory, metaphysics, philosophical. We're even going to talk about the dude that ruins every spelling bee with his name, Nietzsche. Nietzsche. We're even going to talk about Nietzsche.
He's kind of a
But not the Ubermensch idea from Nietzsche.
dirty
It's completely
word
different
nowadays.
Yeah. Honestly, it almost sounds like I'm gonna get in trouble for saying his name. Be a negative Nancy. Don't be a Nietzsche.
Don't be a Nietzsche.
Anyway, today we are talking about the wheel that keeps on turning. Art credit for the wheel there to user Dugga on what.fandom.com. Linked in the description below if you want to go check them out.
You got
that's this person that posted it. I don't know where it came from. It's so hard to find a 7-spoked wheel through any combination of searching. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Good job, Ugga
Dugga, not Ugga Dugga.
Dugga. Good job, Dugga.
Dugga, like the compressed air like wrenches at the auto body shop.
Dugga.
Yeah. How tight does this bolt need to be? About 3 Duggas. So we are talking about why the wheel breaks, cyclical time, stagnation, and revolution, exploring the tension between eternal recurrence and the human desire for change. Man, we sound philosophical and insightful, but we're really just two frat boys talking about beer for 23 minutes.
That's right.
When
That's
Reese isn't here.
Bro. This beer, according to Nietzsche, beer is...
Nietzsche said in his one writing, which
life is suffering and beer.
We'll talk about the name
wall.
of the writing, because we do have a quote from Nietzsche to use. Or I have a quote. I keep saying we. Technically, we do. Josh has access to the same shit I'm looking at, but
I was going to talk about cultures in real life that believe in cyclical, because there are quite a few. If you
we
look,
do have
there
a
are
spot
quite
to
a
get there.
few. Yeah.
Yeah, that is in the timeline. But first, let's explain what we're talking about from the book perspective. So the first segment, because segments, why not? I don't. I might
We're
say
getting all
segment one and never
professional
say
and
another
shit.
word. Yeah, trying to organize a little bit, like loose organization. So there's like a flow to the episode, maybe. Just trying it out to see if people like it. And if y'all hate it, like just tell us, and I won't do it anymore. I'll just bring up random topics. It's fine. Like,
That's right.
I do this for y'all, not for me. Well, I mean, I do it for me. It's fun, but kind of for y'all. So the nature of the wheel and how the nature of the wheel results in eternal recurrence. So, the wheel, ages, spokes, seven spokes of the wheel. You notice this one, this mythical, super hard to fucking find in any kind of image search, 7-spoked wheel doesn't exist anywhere outside of Wheel of Time. Robert Jordan had this idea on fucking lock. 7 spokes. Each spoke represents an age. There's 7 ages to the overarching theme of time in Robert Jordan's world for the Wheel of Time. There's not a concrete duration for each age, so that space in between spokes isn't always going to be even. So technically, the wheel representations we use are probably actually a little misleading. Like, this should be aesthetically probably one of the worst wheels you've ever seen, because there's probably areas where there's very little space and areas where there's a lot more space. But so you have the 7-spoke wheel. Each of the spokes represents one of the 7 ages. Not necessarily top to bottom, left to right, but generally when you look at an image of the Wheel of Time wheel, you will look at the kind of top center-ish one and be like, first age, second age, and third age is the one that on the wheel kind of points at the 3 o'clock. It's the one that's kind of pointing at my eyes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's the closest to being at the 3 o'clock position if you imagine it like a clock. It's typically regarded as the third age and the fourth age. Actually, all of the spacing in between these aren't all exactly even. There's not a lot of space in between the fourth and fifth age, or the sixth and seventh age.
Maybe some ages are bigger than others, and that's okay.
Yeah, they don't have a defined size. They can be as big or as small as they want. They could be down to your ankle, or they could be like a tuna can. You never know. Really short, but a lot of shit happens with a tuna can.
Right.
Man, I'm telling you.
Right.
So, Wheel of Time. It's a wheel, like a circle.
It's like a circle.
There's no corners. There's no ending. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time takes the theoretical, cyclical nature of time as a literal fact of metaphysics, as a literal fact of the universe, that the age lace that gets spun out by the Wheel of Time that creates the pattern ultimately goes around, gets recycled, and comes spun back out. With big picture, very little differences, seemingly. Small picture, a lot of micro differences, a lot of micro changes, that kind of stuff happen throughout. But you see this represented in the the Amon's Field lantern ceremony, with the idea that them lighting the lanterns and sending them down the river will pose as guides to bring a re-spun out soul of a loved one back to Amon's Field. They do the same thing in the TV show, and Tam explains why they're doing the lantern ceremony, even though they just have to keep theirs on a pole because their sheep farm is up on a mountain, apparently. No rivers there.
No rivers.
Fine.
You might live in the 2 rivers, but I live in the no rivers.
I live above your little river.
I always hated not hated, but I always had questions about the combined nature of the concept of time. And what I mean by that is, you've got people that say, the wheel of time. The time is a wheel. Time is a cycle, a never-ending cycle. And each age leads into the next age. And, the age that,
gave birth to it is long past.
Yeah.
Legend fades to legend, or legend fades to myth.
Forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again, right? But they talk about the age lace, and they talk about.
You can see that because they never talk about the Black Tower podcast in the first, second, or third age.
No, they do not. It is kind of fun. But an age lace, a pattern, is not a cyclic. So if I am to understand this correctly, the wheel, right, it spins the threads of fate into the loom, and the loom spreads the threads out onto the pattern of ages. And when someone dies, their thread ends, right? And it's no longer present in the pattern. But the pattern is a linear thing. To suggest that there's an age lace, a woven tapestry of sorts of the different lives and the things that people. And I know it's metaphorical, and I know I'm getting a little bit meta here,
I think
but
it might be less metaphorical than we're thinking.
if you say things like, okay, so let's say people say, okay, well, the pattern is eventually destroyed and recycled, so that the age lace is never ending, is also never ending. Excuse you. So does that mean history is destroyed? Wolf brother in the chat.
So
It
my
because that's
thinking
history,
with
right?
that is, I mean,
That's existence.
so the
itself.
age lace is all the all known and unknown reality. Everything that is reality that exists, that has been created.
Right.
And
To include
reality
other
itself,
parallel universes.
yeah, the lace of ages or age lace, whatever you want to call it, itself is and creates the prison that confines the dark one. Which, thank you so much. I'm fucking old. Um, the age lace creates his prison, which would be an all-encompassing prison, which I've always envisioned like a ball, like this reabsorption of the pattern and different threads coming in it back into the pattern, getting spun out at like different times and stuff. Like it's the spinning wheel,
Yeah.
but like the most complicated spinning wheel you could ever possibly conceive of.
Right.
Like there's subroutines to subroutines to subroutines. Like it's got to be fucking nutty because when a person dies, their soul, barring certain circumstances with the shadow, gets spun back out eventually. So it means when that thread ends, it goes back into the spinning wheel and eventually comes back out when it comes back around. But then you have like the regular the movement of like matter and reality that moves, that some parts of it wind up doing the same thing. Some parts of it just wind up being damaged and have to ultimately they fall off and get replaced and repaired when things like balefire happen. But you have an overarching fabric of time of reality that goes back around. That I think of it as like as it goes away from the wheel itself, slowly and over time the threads spread out and the weaving of the pattern gets more spaced and looser, and there comes a point where it comes back into the spinning wheel, or spinning wheel / loom. I guess it would be a bit of a combo kind of thing here. Spinning wheel into a loom, and it goes back through any damage to the threads and stuff gets fixed by the spinning wheel, and it goes back into the loom to be rewoven back into its tight, compact age lace.
Huh.
Is how if I try to think about it like as a physical construct, because there has to be that overall going around, like the sheer fact of trying to imagine reality as a sphere of thread, hollow in the middle, with Mr. Big Bad Guy that can't actually plan anything apparently in the middle of it. Like, I can't imagine how to get a sphere of shit back into a single point without having it designed so that it comes out from a concise tight point, like a toy tiger. But then as it goes out, it spreads out just naturally, kind of like the age lace gets a little loose, spreads around, and then as it comes back to get fed into the wheel, the threads all get pulled back into a central location, thus kind of completing this sphere. Which, if that's the way it works, that means that there is a pause in there because there is a bit of it that's not covered by age lace and it's directly at the wheel, which would be physically why there's even an opportunity to destroy the wheel, because it is physically accessible. And would explain the bubbles of evil, because with enough ability to act on reality, the Dark One could input them at different spots directly from the wheel so that they come out when he designs, when he wants them.
That's an interesting idea.
I'm probably absolutely completely wrong. Like if Maria listens to this, she'd be like, this is fucking stupid. Like, no, that makes no sense, Andrew. And I'm like,
Maria has entered the chat.
Yeah. Here's why you're wrong. The lacy age.
That's
just a little bit of lace.
Different.
All of reality is just a little bit of lace.
Just a little bit. Not too much, just enough to be presentable.
But that's kind of how I think about it. Like, physically. I guess I take it as like a bit more of a literal thing because of the prison aspect of it than
So,
a theoretical like or representative kind of thing.
okay, so a couple thoughts because we both agree that we believe that
We
the
are
Dark One, as the ultimate agent of chaos and destruction, is bound by the established order of creation, right?
mm,
The creator came out, designed the wheel, designed time, designed all this stuff, set it in motion, and that act bound the Dark One, who is predisposed to stop order and organization, right? So because the
mm,
creator was able to create this huge system of order and organization, the Dark One was bound from having any influence over it because it's, completely barred from.
yeah.
But you've got certain things that happen. Uh, okay, let's take for an example balefire. Balefire destroys threads in the pattern, creating weak spots or openings in the pattern. Is that opportunities for the Dark One to get into reality? Because now you've got an element of pure chaos that he can, or that the entity known as the Dark One can utilize to have some kind of influence on the pattern. And also, what kind of weave did they use to drill the bore? That's got to be a variation on balefire,
That's
right?
bruh. That's exactly what I just thought. I'm looking up right now. When was the first reported use of balefire?
Because it's got to just be,
That
they've just
I
got to
think
have
that's I
figured
think
out
that's got to be it.
how to aim it at, existence. Not at a
Yeah.
person or a tree or something like that. They aimed it at the very fabric of this universe to destroy a piece of reality itself in order to tap into. But that's got to be it, right? It's got to be a variation of balefire.
That's what I would think because so the boar in and of itself is a hole in reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing we have ever seen that has the ability to do any damage to the like the
To the
physic like the
fabric of
threads
reality,
of reality is balefire.
right?
Because also we've had the thought in the past about like Rand getting to a point where he starts using a ton of balefire and
Right.
how he does things and breaking the seals. The seals were just anchor points for the loose threads in the pattern that resulted from the massive use of balefire. And using too much balefire could destabilize the age lace enough to where it could no longer function as a prison,
Right.
ultimately allowing the Dark One free. But the
Which is why,
weird thing is the only thing that maybe be counter to that is because even they hit a point in the War of Power that even the forces of the Shadow put a moratorium on using balefire.
not all of them did.
Not all of them did, but overarching they were all like, no.
Because remember, Balsamon at the time is the one who's like, no, let's keep going. Like,
Oh,
let's
he does
destroy
want creation
everything.
destroyed. So it would
Yeah.
make sense why he was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll still use it.
So that was probably
But
a
I would
debate.
agree. It would have to be like a massively strong port, like use of balefire to drill a hole in reality.
Well, and okay, let's talk about the bale firing of Natrin's Barrow, right? Rand balefires Natrin's Barrow, and everyone for miles and miles around feels a rippling of reality. Like they can't.
Mm,
It's not like someone's pushing them over or anything. It's like reality itself is like. And
yeah,
Grendel calls it a bale scream, right? It's reality itself screaming and trying to put itself back together, trying to
it
right
makes me
itself.
think of what is it, Guardians of the Galaxy when they do like way too many jumps in a row and they all
Yeah.
look fucking wonky and they're screaming and they come out fine at the end, but they definitely could have just been really fucked up.
Yeah.
Like now Rand's hair is white instead of red, and everybody's like, "Wasn't it a different color?" He's like, "No, it's always been this color." What are you
we,
talking about? I
we had
didn't
some
dye it. I'm
alternate
not a Super
timelines.
Saiyan.
We had some
Yeah.
alternate timelines come together on that one. But no, but like that would be those weak spots, those soft spots in the pattern that gave the Dark One access to this. And as a result of that, because we've got time that's cyclical, time that comes around again and again and
It's like a
again,
shadow.
he or the entity known as the Dark One Just has to wait. Just has to wait until, because as you were saying, right? There's little variations in the different cycles
Yeah.
of the 7 ages.
Like the next
So
time the second age comes around, instead of Mirren being the one that survives and swears fealty, it could be the other guy that we never remember his name because he died and doesn't get any more in the story. Maybe he survives and swears fealty to
maybe,
the Dark One.
maybe,
So variations like that happen all the time, and everybody. It's weird how much of the nature of time seems to just be a common understanding, and it's like it's one thing for the characters because we have the Robert Jordan loves using the unreliable narrator. We have so many characters that talk about things and get things wrong so frequently, but
yeah.
it doesn't seem that happens with as much frequency when talking about the nature of the metaphysics of the time of their universe. Like nobody talks about like rebirth and everything as if it's like a theoretical thing. They're like, no, this is what happened. Almost as if they have like some concrete proof that it happened, which is interesting. I mean, which could, just be like, a lot of faith in it.
Right.
But the way the books are written, this is widespread. Like everybody believes in the light and the dark. And you're just either a good person that follows the light, kind of, or you're just a bad person that's like, nah, the shadow's the place to be.
Yeah, and that's so hard, right? Because you've got Moradin, great Moradin slash Ishi slash Belzema. Great example of this guy. He is of the opinion that the Dark One only needs to win once.
Mm-hmm.
Just needs to win once, and he's right. The Dark One just needs to win one time in order to make sure that the wheel is destroyed. Because, but even that might not be true, right? Because it's not like they're going to
Mm-hmm.
kill the creator. And if the creator created creation once, the creator can create creation again. So is that really the case?
I mean, nothing says that the Dark One gets an ability to interact with the pattern in only like the end of the second age into the third age. Like the same, like a similar or same
Yeah.
thing could happen in between any of the other ages. Like because we don't
This,
know we know how the first age, second age, and third age end, and how the
Mhm.
fourth age begins. We
And we
don't know
know
anything else
nothing.
about the end of the fourth age, the fifth age, sixth, or seventh age,
We know at one point
except
in
there,
time.
except for go ahead.
I was just going to say, we know at some point in time the Ogier come to Earth, and we know that at some point in time we get access to the Aelfin and the Eelfin, and at some point in time someone finds a way to bind souls to the Horn of Velen.
And at some point we lose access to magic. It gets removed, banned, forgotten, who knows how, and it doesn't get rediscovered until the end of the first age because that's what ends the first age into the second age.
Right. This is a discovery.
But to bring us like a little bit back to the core concept, I guess, of the topic. So I mentioned Nietzsche earlier, and I have an excerpt from one of his books. It is, Jesus Christ, I'm going to butcher this in German, Die Fröhliche Wissenschaft, which translates literally in English to The Gay Science. This is from Book 4, Section 341, titled
Okay,
The Greatest Weight.
just for specification, at the point in time in which he wrote this, it probably meant the happy science, or like
Yeah.
it had that word.
Again,
The word
this is
gay had an
Friedrich Nietzsche.
entirely different connotation in the early 1900s.
It's not the science of like being gay. Like
Yeah,
it's not that. So Nietzsche proposes, what if someday or night a demon were to steal after you and say, this life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth, or would you answer, you are a god and never did I hear anything more divine? Which, TLDR, if you found out that your life was going to repeat infinitely the way it is now, would you accept it and be happy for it, or would you resent it and rebel against it?
Oh,
And try, it's kind of
that's
like Groundhog Day. There's a point in like Groundhog Day where like you kind of embrace a little bit of it because you're like, cool, no matter what happens, I don't have any consequences. I just come back here. But then you hit a point where you're like, okay, I've lived the same day like for the last 5 years. I'm kind of fucking tired of it. I've done everything that I would want to do,
right.
including many things that should put you in prison. But
I wonder. I wonder if Robert Jordan like was familiar Nietzsche, because this is
Oh,
like
I would
almost
imagine absolutely.
exactly what like Moradin.
That's
This is Moradin,
Well, it's
right?
also the battle between. To me, it feels like it absolutely, yeah. Morden is, I think, a great example for just outright rebellion against the concept.
Yeah,
But I think it also like works to symbolize the battle between the Dark One and Rand.
like order and chaos.
Yeah, because whenever the Dark One destroys the Wheel of Time and everybody's emotionless, it's kind of like an acceptance of life repeating. Like they don't really resist anything; they just kind of go with the flow, and it's kind of mediocre.
Yeah,
And Rand's like, yeah, everybody's alive, but they're all dead because there's nothing unique
right.
to them.
That's totally the lesson he
Yeah,
learns, right? Is that when
and I
you,
and I think, yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, when you remove the micro
you
variations.
remove free will and shit.
Yeah, but here's the that therein lies the rub. How much free will do you have if your life is on a cyclical time, spinning thing that you're gonna be
Yeah.
born again and you're gonna live the same life that you lived with micro variations? Like, how far can you variate? How far can you deviate from the established pattern of ages?
Hmm.
That means your free will has a boundary. Ultimately, right?
I mean, it does. So the pattern steps in and re-guides threads through a multitude of mechanisms
Right.
whenever it needs to course correct the overall course of that segment of the pattern. So
Which
it
is why
seems
we
to
have
be a factor
severing.
of is this section too far out of tolerance? Do we need something to course correct it back to the overarching goal? Because we know that the dragon moniker isn't tied to like Loose Theron Soul Rand Soul. It's an additional moniker that gets added onto the soul as a unique like amplifier at
Yeah,
rebirth or at the soul
specifically
being spun out.
in the
Same way
Age
with
of
the
Light.
Marasu and yeah.
Right.
So there's absolutely a chance that there's a third age where because the thing is like what we're also calling like micro changes are from the scope of the big picture micro changes. But whenever you take like the lifeline of one person and compare it to like their same lifeline from several previous and future ages, they could look drastically different. Like there's no reason I think why there can't be a third age where not only is Rand not the Dragon Reborn, he's not even Taviran, and the Dragon Reborn doesn't even come from Amon's Field. I
Well,
mean,
and
all it has to
again,
do is line up with prophecy, and from big picture, where the Dragon Reborn gets born as a method of prophecy is it can be wherever. Like
yeah,
there's no reason why the same prophecy, like why Guitarra or somebody else with foretelling couldn't have been like
right.
he breathes again. The Dragon Reborn takes his first breaths on the slope of like the wall with Sarah.
The Dragon
Like
Wall. Yeah.
yeah, like it makes no, it doesn't make a difference ultimately to the effect really
Well,
of what the dragon becomes. Like
and you've got some interesting. Okay, but again, see, this is some really interesting stuff, right? Because you have people who have the foretelling,
mm-hmm,
who can see ahead. They can see the future. They
mm-hmm.
know that something is going to happen 10 years from now. Elida
Yeah,
has a
glimpses of the
foretelling.
possible futures of the threads of the
Yeah,
pattern.
Elida has a foretelling that says that the Queen of Andor will be, paramount in winning the war in Tarmangaiden, and that's why she goes to Andor and helps Morghese win the Lion Throne. Well, guess what? It never said that it was House Trakand. So why did Elida tie herself to Morghese? We don't know. It's just how
She was
prophecy
queen at
works.
the time.
Here's another interesting thing that I think is actually really, really cool. At the end of The Gathering Storm, you've got Cad Swain, another Aes Sedai, and Min sitting in a room talking. And the other Aes Sedai is like, it doesn't matter what we do. We know we already won. And Cad Swain's like, how do you figure? And the lady's like, well, Min, her viewings, they always come true, right? And she's seen things that can only happen after Tarmangaiden. So we've already won. Duh. And I love the distinction that's made here. They Robert Jordan does a great job with this because Min says, actually, no, that's not true. What I see, my viewings are of the pattern. If the Dark One wins, there will be no pattern. And so it doesn't matter what I see. or not see, the pattern will not exist. And therefore, anything I've seen beyond Tarmangaiden will also cease to exist. Now, I love that there's this, like, it's a paradox, right? It's a paradox. Because if she's seeing things after Tarmangaiden, yeah, it would be very reasonable to suspect or assume that, well, we've got this in the bag because we've got, no. If creation itself is destroyed, then it doesn't matter what prophecy says, because creation was the very foundation upon which that prophecy was given is gone. And I love that. I think that's cool.
Oh yeah, no, I love it too. So with that, I'm gonna kind of combine like these next two kind of like pseudo segments or whatever. So we've kind of talked about like how much real change can there be between ages, and I don't mean like between the second and third age. I mean like the second age of this turning versus the second age of the next turning, because the amount of time in between ages is variable. It can be as large or as short as whatever the events happen. It's almost like the actual only separation in ages is by interpretation of mankind. Like, oh, okay, we're identifying this as when we're saying that we move from this age to this age. I'm pretty sure the pattern doesn't actually change and like use a different spoke per age. It's just how people are, for whatever reason, interpreting the passage of time and dividing their cyclical world or time into 7 segments or whatever. But and this is where you start getting into like a human desire for change, and like with with Groundhog, with the movie Groundhog and everything, a desire to push back against reality. Like, and that's a big struggle that Rand has, right? His struggle with destiny. Do I succumb to what I feel the will of the wheel is, or do I resist it and try to change it? And he bounces between both. And honestly, neither option works for him. When he just says when he goes full fucking My Chemical Romance emo kid and he's only listening to like Welcome to the Black Parade on an infinite loop, or Helena on an infinite loop.
Right.
It's actually Helena on an infinite loop for a while whenever he loses the one Aes Sedai to Mashadar. Like he's
That's
just listening
right
to
there.
Helena on like an infinite loop. And then like the rest of his time is listening to like Never Coming Home. I know too many My Chemical Romance songs. Clearly,
No.
I listen to them a lot.
Keep it up. Let's go.
It's a really good song. My Chemical, like fucking Never Coming Home. They were like, yeah, we're gonna simulate D-Day, and I'm like, ow. I mean, like I wasn't there, but like, ow. For anyone confused that thought like I'm old enough to have been at D-Day, I know it's my birthday, but fuck. But neither option works for Rand. When he just resigns to like, I'm never gonna make it out of this thing, I'll just die. Everybody else is like, bruh, you're fucking depressing. Like this shit sucks. Like your literal mood is bringing down the quality of life for everyone around you. Like, like the world is actually physically suffering for how morbid you are looking at the future of your life. Because you're like, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna die as long as I make it there to die. Who gives a fuck? But the opposite is true as well. Whenever he's like fully resisting his destiny, then shit's just wild and wacky and happens like he's opening like random gift boxes. Like things are just so crazy. Almost like no matter what choice he makes, whether he goes full against the will of the pattern or full for the will of the pattern itself is being like, this isn't the fucking answer, and here's all the examples that show you why. Which almost seems to be the pattern itself saying, I've set up think of a bowling alley. You know how you can like set up the guardrails so like your 4-year-old nephew doesn't hate bowling because he gutter balls everything. Yeah. It's almost like the pattern for Rand and maybe everybody sets up like wide bumpers to guide you in a generic direction, but incentivizes you to use your free will within the bumpers. Like, and I think Rand and the other Taviran and people by proxy of the Taviran have like exponentially less free will than your average person. Like the 2 times we see Almond Bunt getting pulled into the main story, I think are the 2 examples of Almond Bunt's free will getting heavily nerfed. They're like, there's a Taviran near you, so you're going to be subject to their will. The pattern is going to guide you to do a certain thing, to be at a certain place.
Okay.
But I think the random citizen of Kyrian that's just like fucking walking around the city, going about their day, has an incredibly vast amount of free will because their overall impact potentially to the path of the pattern is super tiny.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like your opinion, man.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I want to watch that again. I love that movie.
I was gonna rewatch Fast and
I
Furious.
was gonna say,
But I
I was gonna say that I like what you're saying about like people who are caught up in the Taviran pull, right? Because Varen
yeah,
gets caught up in Matt's pull.
yeah.
She tries for
Because
like
it's like a
a
gravity
week.
well, right?
Yeah, she tries for like a week to travel away from this city and is stuck in this damn city. And the second she goes, okay, fine, I'm just gonna wait for the Taviran to show up,
I could see her and Matt just
shit
being like,
stops
I keep
happening.
trying to leave and nothing will let me, and like they're just like, oh,
Yeah,
fucking tell me about it.
it's like as soon as she's like as soon as she checks into a hotel room and she's trying to learn the area well enough that she can leave, like there's a fire, or sorry, you got to go to a different room because I need this room for reason. So in that sense, like that's a really great example of, yeah, Varen did not have free will in that moment. Like there was for the course of a week, or however long it was, she was not allowed by the pattern to leave that area because the pattern needed her and Matt to speak. Okay. And keep in mind, where was she on her way to go with that meeting?
You'll have to remind me. I don't remember right off.
She was on her way because she had letters, right? Numerous letters to deliver. And the very next time you see her is presumably after she's delivered her letters. And the very next time you see her is when she sits down to have a cup of tea with Egwene.
Oh.
So can you imagine if Matt hadn't shown up and Varen was just stuck there and Egwene never got the list of dark friends from Varen? Like
Yeah, if Matt hadn't
that's the
shown up, we
thing.
would have
Like,
never got our chicken.
yeah, and that's the thing is like there- there's there's stuff like that you got to go, damn, like Varen really didn't have any free will in that moment. What she wanted to do, what she needed to do was actively hindered because she needed to talk to Matrim, Lord Matrim Cawthon, commander of the Band of the Red Hand.
So I just had
Prince of the Ravens.
another thought directly related to like this idea of free will, and the ability of people to, for lack of a better phrase, rebel against the prescribed status quo of the pattern. What if that is by design something the pattern relies on? I want to call you back to my original like physical interpretation of the age late. That
Right.
it comes out from the loom, and as it comes out, it spreads out physically to make the entire sphere that encompasses the dark one before getting pulled back together to be spun back out, recycled, whatever. Incredibly green and efficient that we recycle like literally all of reality. So it's pretty cool. What if the inherent human desire for change and rebellion is what enables the pattern's threads through those micro changes from rebirth to rebirth, from reincarnation to reincarnation? That rebellion, that pushing back against the stagnation of the pattern is what allows the threads to spread out and thus create the wide arcing prison needed to keep the dark one under. What if the very nature of the unpredictability of the micro changes is what makes the pattern so resistant to the influences of the dark one, because he can't predict what may happen after the threads have been spun, and because he can't predict, he can't easily intercede and interfere. Because like what else makes the concept of being imprisoned by literal reality a prison whenever we've seen proof that the dark one can reach out and fuck with the threads? What if like the bubbles of evil are just where he got close enough to what was going to happen to be able to touch it and fuck with it and tweak it?
Well, and they talk about how bubbles of evil are drawn to Taviran. They're not exclusively hatched upon Taviran, but they're drawn to Taviran, right? Because
Yeah,
Taviran
because they're massive gravity wells in the
is the
overall
gravity
pattern
well
to try
within
to.
the pattern.
So what if they come in when the overall designed rebellion as a metric starts getting more out of hand than the pattern is designed to handle, and it sends them out as a gravity well to start pulling those threads closer back together to maintain the stability? What if the Taviran themselves make reality predictable enough for the Dark One to be able to interact with, based off of like my previous thought? The existence of Taviran pulling it back to a point is when the Dark One can go, that's close enough. I know close enough to what's going to happen. I can interfere. I can intercede to some degree with it.
Hmm.
The Severan are a necessary factor to keep the fabric of reality together, but also because they're pulling the pattern back together towards its ultimate destination, it creates predictability for the Dark One to interfere with, rely on, and fuck with. Because he would want to mess up that kind of pulling back together, because theoretically there's a point where the threads get so far apart by the rebellion of humanity, assuming like all of this shit I'm spouting is any kind of one understandable, but any kind of true, that you could make it so sparse that it's, like when you wear like a sock forever and ever and suddenly you realize you got like 3 threads short of a hole. Like you look like you can see your foot, but there's like it's hanging out there. And normally we just
they call that threadbare.
Yeah. The Dark One's just trying to throw the sock away. The pattern's like, no, I can patch it. Like, no. Like, the creator's like, I can patch the hole in your sock. And the Dark One's like, just fucking throw the sock away. Like, just get a new sock. I want a new sock. I don't want a patch sock.
How about we not do that?
Oh, dude, this is the first time I've ever been accused of this.
Going
deep.
Andrew, deep thinker, shallow lover.
Right. But I mean, like, and again, like a lot of this only makes sense if you think of like reality as like reality is physical, as the age lace as a physical thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a physical thing, right? The age lace is our reality.
The books say it is.
We are within the age, and even when Rand steps outside the pattern to fight the Dark One, he sees the pattern from outside the pattern, from the void of creation. He sees the pattern. He steps into the Dark One's prison and sees the pattern being spun. And then he and the Dark One just kind of dip their fingers in and manipulate the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that would also make sense because like their battle at that point would be kind of like not a nexus point, but like in the not Marvel nexus point, but in the idea of a nexus point. At a point where there's 2 forces fighting so hard together, where the outcome of their battle decides the fate of reality itself, anything stemming forward from them is a potential reality. So in the moment of combat, that would explain why they can both reach out and seemingly effortlessly manipulate perceptions of reality for the other one to experience. Because until they finish and somebody wins, literally anything stemming from that point in the pattern is possible. They can manipulate the threads to any infinite degree.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, boy, I feel so smart right now. And I don't know if it's the proper 12 or if I actually make some sense. Gesundheit.
I don't know, man. Leave a comment down below if you think Andrew's full of shit. Leave a comment if you think he's onto something.
Hey, it's more shoddy.
The fact checker Mahale is up in the comments going tip to tip.
So, as we start working to kind of wind this overall topic down, if we take the Dark One's revolution to its completion, and he destroys the Wheel of Time, I mean, what is the actual ramifications of that other than, I mean, reality's just done, right? Like, it completely unravels. Because the Dark One's whole thing is he's like, I want to destroy the Wheel of Time and recreate reality in my own vision.
That's why I say, like, if the creator created creation once, the creator can create creation again.
Yeah.
So what plans does the Dark One have to prevent the creator from just creating creation again? And how many times has it happened? Is Moradin correct? Does the Dark One just need to win one time? Or is the Father of Lies stringing Moradin along? Has the Father of Lies destroyed creation several times already, and the creator just creates it again? Because again, remember, time never ends. Time is a wheel. So if the creator goes, and time exists, and creation exists, and there's a tree over there that's 500 feet tall and 7,000 years old, well, guess what? If you'd gone to that place in space and time 10 seconds ago, none of that exists. But the creator went, and now all of a sudden, there's a 7,000-year-old tree. Who the fuck knows, man? I think Moradin's been lied to by the Dark One. I really do. I think it's a farce.
So Morshadi says, except it can't because the pattern exists outside of time and is the correcting force to keep balance. There has been a moment in time when the champion of light went over and the battle was a draw. I mean, but is that a factor of like trying
In
to
this
say that the
age,
Dark One can't win because the pattern is predisposing. I mean, the pattern is so you have chaos versus order. Both are inherently opposed to each other, but you have to have one to have the other. So when the champion of light abandons the course of the pattern, like the thing about existing within reality is the thing that can create, spin out, and affect reality can continuously change, alter everything to its advantage. Right? It's like adaptive programming can always sit there and look at like what's going on and what the metrics it's reading and adapt things to its advantage to be successful. So if the light loses the dragon reborn to the shadow because he's turned or just decides to I'm going to be a bad guy this time, there's nothing stopping the pattern from throwing the Taviran moniker on as many people as it needs to counteract the new imbalance, right? Like there's no theoretically there's no limit to the number of Taviran that you could have. So theoretically you could throw like 80 Taviran at it and overwhelm the power of the dragon moniker. And then you just know like, hey, I'm never putting the dragon moniker on that soul again whenever they come around again. Like, no, that was a bad decision. That soul's too let's see. The pattern will always balance it to keep it going. Theorize that if the dragon went over, it would spit out Taviran to counter. Okay. Sure. And that Rand had 2 other Taviran helping him this turn. So yeah, I mean the pattern is disposed towards order, where the Dark One like wants chaos. Like he doesn't want the predictable order of the spinning out of the threads that make the age lace.
right?
So as hard as the Dark One is trying to destroy order, the pattern is working just as hard and clearly often harder, or for all of known reality, harder than the Dark One. It just has more access than the Dark One to maintain order.
I wonder.
I mean, it's a thing like both can be true. Like it could be theoretically impossible for the Dark One to ever win.
Right.
But at the same time, the Dark One does only need once whenever his victory is destroying the wheel.
Okay. So I almost wonder if Brandon Sanderson took some inspiration from this. In the first Mistborn trilogy, he talks about 2 deities that have equal power. And
don't spoil
one
too
of our
much because I'm actively
characters
reading.
accepts the mantle, and well, I'm not going to say too much. I won't want to spoil it for you. One of our characters like accepts the mantle of one of these entities and starts fighting with this other entity, and the other entity's like, I am equal to you in every way. If you push, I can push exactly the same amount against you. If you pull, I can pull the exact same amount against you. There is no way one of us can win over the other. And it is
So
a
the Lord Ruler and
perfect
somebody else.
stalemate. And I feel like that's based on this conflict here. Is the creator and the Dark One are in a perfect stalemate. The wild card in their conflict is humanity. That's why they have avatars. That's why they have Shaida Haran and Nakomi as avatars, as their representatives on Earth. That's why they have champions like the Forsaken and the Dragon. They have champions to fight their battles.
The Forsaken champions. You're actually kind of making me feel bad for the Shadow. If the Forsaken are your champions, like, ugh.
Look,
it's like, hey, these are your weapons you get to fight. The other dude gets steel. You get like
you
get cardboard cast in resin. Like,
it's that episode of was it Blackadder, I think, with Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry, and he's like, pick your weapons, and Hugh Laurie goes, rapier, and so he gets the sword, and he's like, and Stephen Fry goes, pistol, please. And so the guy hands him, and he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. This is exactly the Forsaken are the fucking wet noodle sword. It's just bad decisions. It's like they do like a weird, like they're both captains of teams, but like they do a pick your entire team at first, and then the other guy gets to pick, and like Shaitan's just left with like the third stringers. It's like, hey, you can pick whoever you want from who's left. Like you by default get Lanfear because she was there whenever you showed up, so you get her. But after that, pick whoever you want. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll take the chick that can't stop looking at herself in the mirror and stealing everybody else's boyfriend and girlfriend and making them believe that they never dated anybody else. Like, yeah, that's a fantastic addition to my pool of let's destroy reality. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, so ultimately, what we're kind of talking about here for this episode is it's less like creator and dark one reliant, right? Because these are those overarching forces that, by virtue of their action or inaction, are going to maintain the macro events, right? The existence of these individuals is what's going to mean that you still have a dark a bore into the prison for the dark one. That you have an age where magic is discovered. That you have an age where magic is eventually lost. That you have an age where we go to the moon and apparently everything else fucking happens in the first age. Like, you're gonna have these ages because of them being the overarching forces enforcing the confinement or and push against for the age days. Because like if you ever made like a pound cake, you got the little post in the middle. You need pressure from inside and outside, or your pound cake is just another. Well, it's a failure, but otherwise it's just a cake, right? So they both do that by working against each other. I think because that's an interesting idea. What if the dark one has to be imprisoned within creation to keep the age lace from imploding on itself? What if he has to be that positive pressure from the inside pushing back against creation so that it can maintain
You
form?
mean like the destructive forces moving the wheel along?
There's a thing for that in, like, what is it, Confucianism, Taoism,
Taoism. Yeah.
Taoism. It's like
Tai Chi. They
yeah, it's
talk
like
about
they
stillness
do
in
it in Kung
motion,
Fu Panda with the
push and pull.
pandas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's a real thing. Like it,
yeah.
and again, this is
No, it is
this.
absolutely not to make. I'm not making fun of Taoism,
No,
by
no,
the
no,
way.
no.
Like,
Serious.
I was
That
making a
and
joke, but
no,
not at the expense of Taoism.
and Kung Fu Panda. That's very much a concept, an Asian concept in which they talk about
Mm.
you know motion, and there's theories of motion and kinesiology and things like that. That this is exactly what it is. They talk, stillness in motion. That these things that seem to be contradictory, pushing and pulling at the same time. They seem to be contradictory, but they're not. They work harmoniously together, and they what is Moraine even
The
talks
pound cake
about
of time.
Moraine even talks about how Sidene and Sidar are opposing forces that work together to keep the wheel of time spinning. So
Does she actually call them opposing, or does she say that like they're
they are
counter
opposing
forces?
forces. Well, I don't know if she uses those words exactly. I'd have to go. You know what?
I mean, don't get me wrong.
The
Like
Eye of
the
the
question
World
there.
was like 12 months ago. Okay?
Hey,
The reread
Morshadi, if
right
you're still
now,
here, does
right?
Moraine say that they're opposing forces or
Fact checker
counterbalance
me
or like
now.
forces?
Fact
I
checker me
mean,
now.
because
Check
it's
my
a
facts.
to a degree it's a semantics, but like there's implications for how they determine these because
The
they're pushing against each other
right.
is what provides the
Conceptually it's
energy
the
to
same.
turn the wheel of time.
Right. Right.
So I guess as we really move to closing this out. Um, no, you're fine. Like I've talked so much this episode, dude. Like, please.
No, we've gone over.
I
I
feel
love it when we get into these real theory episodes where we're able to just chew on them real hard. I love it. I love it so much.
yeah. I feel like a dog with a chew toy just.
And we didn't even get to talk about to go in depth about real life cultures that have a cyclical understanding of
Oh
time
yeah.
and why they have that, which I'll have to prepare next time because I actually prepared for that one. It was great.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm
Damn.
excited for it. We'll do it again.
Yeah. So as we move into this, I kind of like final thoughts, broader reflections about how all this works. Josh, but you got any thoughts like
I do.
just overarching behind this? And again, for anybody that would like a reminder, the overall concept again, as the title of this episode is why the wheel breaks: cyclical time, stagnation, and revolution. Exploring the tension between eternal recurrence and the human desire for change.
I the a lot of us in Western society look at time as linear, right? So when we look at time as being a cycle or a wheel, it's kind of a foreign concept to us, but it's not necessarily a foreign concept to humanity as a whole. There's a lot of Eastern cultures and traditions that look at time as cyclical, and there's a lot of uh, sort of European cultures that look at time as cyclical either. And it's really not that difficult to understand why. I mean, they look at, you get spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter. It moves in a cycle. So why wouldn't time also move with the cycle? And these people also charted the stars. They looked at astronomy, and they looked at, oh, I'm noticing there's a pattern in the stars. And when we come a year later, the sun sets in this place in the horizon. And then you go 6 months and it sets over here. And then you go another 4 months, it sits over here. And then you go another, 12 months from the day you started measuring, it's right back to where it was again. So it's not difficult uh, to see where they might get the concept that time is a cycle. Time goes around. What goes around comes around. There's a lot of sort of cyclical themes in human culture throughout history. And so I do like that it's an interesting thing. And Robert Jordan even talks about wanting to have something that was a little bit foreign, but also something that was really prevalent in human society when he had this idea for time being, cyclical. And I really like this. I really like this idea. I really like this concept. I really like the draws from real life. I really like uh, how they translate into the story, and how you can really just see this really does just read like a history book from the future. I think that's one of the things I love most about this story. It's history books from the future, and I love it.
Good night, Wolfie.
Thanks, Wolfie.
It's a great phrase. History books from the future. Um,
Every once in a while, I have my
I,
moment.
hey man. No, I like the idea that there's some part of the creator that when creating reality, that in creating the Dark One's prison, kind of maybe factored in that human desire for change, that human desire to resist being pushed in a particular direction, um, whether you realize it or not, and that perhaps that became like a function of reality itself. You know,
Yeah.
it just like to me it just screams like efficiency, right? Like, I'm going to be super efficient by making a natural process of what I'm making something that works for and ultimately benefits the process. But then also I'm going to make things like Taviran that act as safeguards for when this process gets too out of hand. Um, but maybe like I think about the age lace and stuff far too literal. I mean, I think pretty much every point I've tried to make it is come from looking at the pattern as a physical, malleable, manipulatable thing. Which again, like I do think it is in the scope of the Wheel of Time. Um, that by nature, like its existence is outside of space time, but its existence is also what creates space time. Like it's kind of both.
Yeah.
Like
I love it. I love it.
I really like the idea that like the presence of the Dark One is required from the inside, and probably I think maybe by design, uh, to provide like that kind of like inner pushing out strength. Like submarines do this. Like when they submerge, there's a certain amount of pressure inside the sub that pushes back against the walls. That is what allows the submarine to resist just collapsing, like an open soda can at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, or a suddenly no longer pressurized tin can at the bottom of the ocean because you don't follow design conventions and standards and inspections, and you control it until you're known to lose connection. Um, hmm. Yeah, but I think it's a cool idea. I think the Wheel of Time ultimately is the creator was incredibly intelligent in creating creation to where there's built-in outlets and mechanisms to deal with the human desire for change, the human desire to maybe at the soul and spiritual level resist stagnation and just reliving the same old boring thing over and over again. um we can see it like when we look through Rand's past lives and lineage. It's different all the time. I mean, there's similarities when you pass down through lineage, but the Randall Thor leads a vastly different life from Lews Theron because they are the same soul reborn.
Randall Thor.
Oh, yeah. What did I say?
You said Randall Thor.
I said something.
No, you said everything right. I was being a dick.
Oh, okay. I absolutely thought that I called like Lews Theron like Lose Out Thor and Rand Theron Telamon or some shit.
Randall Thor. I just love that.
They're pretty much the same.
Funny. Which is I think it's cool. Part of the inspiration for the name. So
yeah, but yeah, I like the idea of the inherent like human desire to resist being guided in a specific direction for many folks, not everybody, but for many folks, being built in as a factor and element of the way the pattern works. I think is really cool. And maybe Robert Jordan read way too much Nietzsche. I don't know.
Maybe he did.
Or maybe just enough Nietzsche.
Or maybe just enough. Who knows? Who's to say? In the words of Uncle Fester, who's to say?
It's gonna fester. Ew, that's disgusting.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making our night enjoyable by leaving all of your beautiful comments down below and for hitting that thumbs up. Thank you for making it enjoyable by existing and loving the Wheel of Time, because that's what we're all about. We don't care. We just, do you love Wheel of Time? Sweet, we're besties now. Let's go. That's how it be.
Fucking perfect.
It'd be like that. Fucking perfect. Yep.
But for all of us here at the Black Tower Podcast, I have been Andrew, your Bajan Mahel, your apparently this episode Mr. Talks a Lot. So
Mr.
Had a lot to say this episode.
Yep. What was that in There Will Be Blood? Where he's like, woof, 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 little puppy. Woof, 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 woof. Love it. That's a great movie. If you haven't seen There Will Be Blood, go see it. It's one of Daniel Day-Lewis's performances. I love every movie Daniel Day-Lewis has been in. So don't take my word for it. Go watch every movie that Daniel Day-Lewis has been in. And from all of us here at the Black Tower, I have been Josh, your Sauron Mahale. And I'm sure if Reese were here, she would say something like, I've been your no glove, no love Mahale. Look at my leaf curtains. And say goodnight.
There's been your no glove. If I trust you, maybe a little bit of love. Who knows? I'm not speaking for Reese.
We're glad to be here for this week's dose of taint. We hope you leave here just a little bit more insane than you were when you first got here. Thank you. Good night. Go away.
Good night.
Get out of here. Leave us alone. You bother me.
You've been waiting for this moment, for this feeling to grow. In the shadows, always watching, always running the show. In the tower, you can bring your pain. In the tower, you can feel the strain. You've been having so much trouble